Well, I was going to make French toast. However, I accidentally put cumin in my eggs instead of cinnamon. So we'll just improvise a chorizo breakfast sandwich instead. Hello, friends, family, total strangers. Sorry for the somewhat poor lighting. Today's video is going to be on what to do when your van breaks down. So, yes, I'm doing this video from my brother's house. My van broke down. I've been wanting to do this video for a while, but since I haven't had a breakdown, I haven't had a chance to do it, so now I do. Yay. So I went with my brother up to Lake Tahoe. He had a friend he was helping do a railing on a deck up there, and I went with him to help him out. So we drove over Highway 88 Carson Pass up to Lake Tahoe, did the work, and then we came back down Sonora Pass, Highway 108, back here to Sonora where my brother lives. And we were about 20 minutes from his house when apparently I shot a spark plug out of my freaking engine. So me and my brother both assessed it, and he's a little better with cars than me, but we both kind of came to the same conclusion that it was all downhill to his house and the engine wasn't smoking. We could probably just drive it down the hill. So we did that. We drove it to my brother's house, and he has a mechanic friend. So his mechanic friend came over and did some work on it, replaced the spark plugs, replaced the coil, I don't know, bunch of stuff. I don't really know what he did exactly, a gasket. And so, yeah, he did that for me and got it running. So it was running, but it's been sounding like crap for a while, and I've had some bigger issues. So I decided to just take it in. So I took it in to his shop, and yeah, that's where it is right now. And they're doing pretty extensive repairs. It's going to be a pretty big bill all said and done. It was $400 for the initial repairs, which he definitely gave me a deal on. It was $100 just in parts. And then the estimate for the work that they're doing currently is $1,280 plus tax. And this is California, so tax is high. But we'll get into that. That's whatever. So this video is really about how to deal with said situations. I am so freaking lucky. I really am. Like, that this happened 20 minutes from my brother's house where I have a place to stay. I was going to leave. I wasn't going to go to Tahoe with him. That kind of came up at the last second. I was going to drive over Tioga Pass and then through the middle of nowhere in Nevada. And that's where I would have broke it down if I didn't go with my brother to Tahoe. So I am so lucky. I'm so lucky. I have a place to stay while all these repairs are going, which would have been, more cost. I didn't even have to get it towed because it was just all downhill to my brother's place, and then it was fixed on site at my brother's house, at least the initial problem. And yeah, so lucky, so lucky. But this video is kind of about what to do if you aren't that lucky. like how do you handle a breakdown when it happens on the road? So yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, so first things first, you got to get it to a mechanic. So whether that's getting it towed or if it's a problem that you can still drive it into, mine was, something was wrong, but it could still drive and I could get it in, to where I was going. So you may have to call a tow truck. It's great if you have insurance that covers that. I think USAA does. Some other insurance policies might. Mine doesn't. But I didn't have to tow it, so no big worries. So first you have to tow it. You have to pay for your tow. And then I think the next big thing is you need to figure out where you're going to stay while they're repairing it. So this is going to vary greatly depending on where you break down. If you break down in your brother's hometown, perfect. That's probably not going to happen. So, it's going to vary quite a bit whether you break down in a big city or you break down in an area with a rural town, or, where you stay just totally depends. You have a few options. If it's a town big enough to have a hostel, you can try to find a hostel. Hostels aren't super popular in America, so it would probably have to be a pretty big city to have a hostel. You can pay for a hotel. To me, I don't want to pay for hotels. They're expensive. They're very costly. So hotel is like a last resort, in my opinion. But not everybody's doing this with the same budget. So if you got a decent budget and you're not worried about it, then yeah, just get a hotel room and there you go. I think the next option that you have is to camp. If you're in a city, you can probably find like a KOA or something like that where you can pitch a tent. I always believe in having a backpack and a tent in your van no matter what, even if you're not into backpacking, for exactly these types of situations. A tent, you can use it to save your campsite, but then you can also use it to stay in if your van's broken down. So I think having a tent and a backpack are super important. So you can either hitchhike out to National Forest or BLM land, or depending how close it is, some places you can even just walk to it. Or, you do have another option. You can rent a car. We'll get into that later. Let's get into that right now. So I guess the next topic along these lines is how to get around, when your car's broken down. So you can walk, but this is all going to depend on, where you're broken down at. If it's a big city, small town, whatever, you can walk, you can take public transportation, but those things might not be available. So, hitchhiking's an option. Renting a car is definitely an option. That's a little spendy, but you can also stay in that car conceivably, or at least use it to drive out to camp and then drive back in wherever you are. That's definitely an option. Some car repair places will actually have like a car you can use, probably at a fee, but that's also a possibility. So yeah, walk, hitchhike, whatever you can. You just have to, that's something you're going to have to figure out when you're there. A big part of van living in general is just being able to wing it, and you just don't have you just don't have as much security in your life, and you just have to be good at winging it and figuring it out as you go, because things pop up and you just have to be ready to deal with it and don't stress. I think if you don't have those qualities in your personality, van living and mobile living is going to be very difficult to pull off. Like, those are going to help you out a whole bunch. So before I go on anymore, I'm going to just show you the footage we got going over Highway 88 over Carson Pass. And then just a little bit at Tahoe. I unfortunately didn't have time to do any hikes since we were just doing that deck the whole time. So let me shoot you that footage. This is heading over Highway 88 over the Sierras on the way to Lake Tahoe. We have a guest videographer, Travis, my brother. Hello. Lake Tahoe. Okay, the next thing you have to figure out in this whole breakdown situation is, are you going to get your car fixed or are you going to have to replace it? You know, a lot of us doing this are, not driving brand new vehicles here. So sometimes the repair will be more than the vehicle's worth. And under normal circumstances, it might just make a lot more sense to get rid of it and get a new one. But considering that you're going to have to transfer all your stuff over, get all this new stuff, do all new insulation, do all this, whatever else you're doing on your van, it might be worth it just to pay the money and get it fixed rather than junking it and buying a new van. If you do have to buy, a new van, it's obviously probably going to take you longer, and you should figure that into the cost calculations, because you're going to have to rent a car longer or a hotel or however you're dealing with your living situation. It's going to be probably longer to get into a new car than it is to get your old car fixed. So yeah, I mean, that's the next concern. This is more or less the final point. Is you got to have a way to pay for this. Whether you're buying a new car or getting your vehicle fixed, you need to be able to pay for it. The way I see it is you have three options for this. One, you can have a savings account. So before you move into a van, you put away, you kind of set the amount at whatever you want. I think $5,000 would be a good thing to have. So you have $5,000 saved up in a savings account that you just use for repairs or vehicle replacement. So vehicle repair or vehicle replacement. And when you use some of that money, you need to make sure you replace it, because that's all it's for. This isn't a savings for going on trips. It's not a savings for anything else. This is a savings specifically for dealing with your vehicle. That's one way to do it. I wasn't smart enough to do that. But there is another option, and that is, in my old life, I had a credit card with a pretty good limit. So I have a credit card with a high limit, and that is another way to deal with it. So yeah, I have a credit card with a high limit. So I think it's going to take so much stress out of the whole situation if you have one of those two options. If you either have money saved up or a credit card where you can cover it and then just, pay it off when you can. I think it's really important, whichever way you choose to go, whether you have a savings or a credit card, pay it off ASAP. Go get a job and get that money off your credit card. Living debt-free is the way to be, in my opinion. So get that credit card paid off, or get that money back in that account, so the next time you have a breakdown or total vehicle failure, you have a way to financially deal with it. Now, there is a third option other than credit card or savings, and that is to just wing it. Now, that sounds really irresponsible, but I mean, it all just depends on you. You could totally just wing it. And if your van is beyond repair, you can just find a job with seasonal housing, or find a seasonal job with housing and work until you have enough money saved to buy a new vehicle. You can definitely do that. I mean, but a lot of people wouldn't be comfortable with that. And it also adds a certain level of stress that, it's already a stressful situation having your vehicle break down. So boy, I think it would be better to not do that. But it's definitely something that if you have the right type of personality, you can totally pull that off. You can just wing it and figure it out as you go. And yeah, just figure it out. I mean, yeah. My brother did make my brother Travis also loves to cook. So there's two of us, two brothers that love to cook and two brothers that don't really cook at all. So Travis is the other one that likes to cook, and he made a awesome dinner the other night. So let me show you that.
Chocolate chip cookies. There we go. There's the final product on the cookies. Yummy. Oh yeah.
See?
Oh yeah. I'm into it.
Philly cheesesteaks, Travis style.
So yeah, that's pretty much my video. I guess my last point would just be, don't panic. Don't panic. I mean, you know, things happen, and it's really not that big of a deal if your vehicle breaks down. It happens to everybody, whether you're living the van life or not. Vehicles break down. If somebody's traveling away from home, they're going to have all the same problems that you have as a van dweller. You know, they're not going to have a place to stay. So, you know, it's not that big a deal. Just figure it out, go with the flow, and yeah, don't panic. So that's my video. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. Thanks a bunch.